Track 1.
Adrian, we're talking about your family. Can you describe the people in your family? Like, what's your mother like, your father like, and your sister?
Okay. Well, let me start with my mother. I'm hoping she doesn't listen to this, though, maybe. My mother is a very interesting person. She has a great sense of humor, and she's a very kind woman, very generous woman. She's also not afraid to say what she's thinking, which is a quality I admire about her very much.
What about your father? How would you describe your dad?
My dad is probably the nicest man you'll ever meet. He's very kind, very generous, very warm heart, and he's really just a good guy, and I love him very much.
And actually, I met your father, and he's a very big guy.
He is, which means he has a very big heart.
Right.
He is. My dad's very tall and takes up a lot of space. It's true.
Yeah, gentle giant, right?
Something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now you have a sister. Is she younger or older?
Younger sister.
Oh, younger sister. So, how would you describe her personality?
My sister is actually quite similar to my dad in that she just has a very good heart, and she's very generous and very open, very friendly and giving personality. And she is probably the only person on the planet who can make me laugh at any moment.
Oh, that's nice.
She cracks me up, so she's got a great sense of humor. But part of that probably just comes from being sisters, too.
Now, you said that your sister is very similar to your father.
Mm-hmm.
So you are very similar to your mother?
Coincidentally, yes, actually, my mother and I have a lot in common in terms of our personality, which means that we get along very well, and then sometimes we don't, because we remind each other of each other, perhaps.
So, like, what traits do you have in common?
I would say that we both very often say what we're thinking, which not everybody likes all of the time, and
No, I think being outspoken is good.
Can be, yes, can be, which is why I think it's a good quality, but sometimes can lead to more conflict than you're
Right.
prepared for.
Right. Well, it sounds like you have a nice balance.
We do.
Track 2.
So, Shiloh, I hear you're homeschooled. I didn't have that experience, so can you tell me what it was like?
Yeah, Adrian, I was homeschooled during high school. I was homeschooled for 6 years, actually, my whole high school experience. And it was good, but it was bad. There are things that I liked, and there are things that I didn't like. For instance, I didn't have quite as many friends as I could have. The reason I was homeschooled was because I was always traveling with my family, and I wasn't able to stay at home and go to school 5 days a week. But the classes were good. I had almost the same classes as everybody else did. I learned the same things. I just learned them in a different environment by myself.
So, how did you make friends?
Well, when you're homeschooled, there are these things called homeschool groups, which are kind of social organizations composed of other students who are homeschooled. And you get together once or twice a week, and you might have a class together. Maybe you're all taking the same subject, and they'll have a real teacher come and give you a class, or sometimes it's just a social event and you just go hang out and play games. And I met a lot of people this way, but sometimes the people were a little geeky and they never really became my good friends.
So, during homeschooling, did your mom teach you, or was it largely self-study?
Well, my mom actually didn't do very much work because we subscribed to a program where we ordered academic DVDs from a real high school in another part of the country. So I was sitting in a room watching a real class on television screen. It was almost as if I was in the real class because there was somebody in the back of the room with a video camera. So my mom didn't have to do too much work because I was taught via television. And when I did my homework and my tests and exams, my mother sent my work back to this school where they graded it and kept my grades.
So that's interesting. Well, then, how did you go about, applying for college? Because in high school, usually, a counselor helps you apply for colleges. So how did you go about that?
That was difficult because I had to figure everything out by myself. Obviously, my mom and my dad didn't know too much about applying to colleges because they hadn't done it in 30 years. So it was a little difficult because first I had to figure out what schools I wanted to go to. I had to get all the information together by myself. I did take standardized tests like everybody else does when they're in high school. So I had the same type of test scores that other students would have. And I had all the same information. The difference was it was just coming from a homeschool instead of a real school.
So what were some of the subjects that are required? Is it the same as a normal high school curriculum?
Yeah, the curriculum's the same. We study basically the same, maths and sciences and grammar and English, this sort of thing. But we are also able to study more what we wanted to. It was more like college in this sense. If I was taking 4 classes and one of them I didn't like and I wanted to take a different class instead, well, generally I could do that and I could just go get all the books for that class and switch classes.
That's very interesting.
Track 3.
Hey, Tom, where you been lately?
Oh, I've been doing loads of job interviews. I'm graduating soon. I've just got to work out what to do next. I'm torn between a big company and a small company.
Really? Personally, I would choose the small company. What are you thinking?
Well, see, I was going to go for the big company because if it's bigger, it's got a bigger financial base, it's more secure, it's not likely to fold in a couple of months. And also, as a big company with a high profile, they've got to follow the laws, toe the line on looking after their employees. So things like pensions and insurance are all going to be sorted out.
Well, I think a small company, for almost the different reasons, it's a lot more exciting. You're going to be treated, most importantly, like a person, not just a cog in a wheel. And, you're young. You don't need to worry about your pension just yet. You're not that old. You can get by. And it'd be nice to have the relationships with your coworkers on like a human relationship instead of just one giant building and you're not feeling like a human there. And especially with your boss, I think that's always important, and to get the recognition that I think you deserve. Well, that is a good point, but I think also if you look at a small company that most of the people working there are going to share a lot more of your ideals, and you're going to have a better time of integrating yourself in there, and I think it's going to be fairer by and large because it is smaller.
I'm going to have to give this more thought.
Track 4.
So what influences you most to buy something? Is it like commercials or is it just impulse?
I think it's kind of just having the money and feeling like I deserve it.
So it's a reward.
Yeah, it's always a reward for something.
Mm-hmm. Michael, this is a beautiful home.
Yeah, we've lived here for about 12 years, and it's too big for us now.
Really?
Well,
Pretty big.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got 4 bedrooms and it's got this big living room area and dining room area. And I've got 2 kids and both of them are in college now, so they don't live here anymore.
Oh.
And so my wife and I are thinking about, moving to a smaller house.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's not easy to find the right place, but actually today we're going to meet a realtor and we're going to be looking at some houses that are available and see if we like any of them.
Actually, I've been thinking about getting a house. I'm kind of getting up there in age. What is the process of buying a house? Like, how do you go about it?
Well, the first step to find a place is generally you have to work with a realtor, somebody who has access to homes that are for sale. And then you sort of look through the listings and you find ones that you like, that you can afford, and then you visit with the realtor. And say you find a house that you like. Like there is one that we're going to visit today that we think we like, and we're going to check it out again. After we visit, we make an offer sheet. We draw an offer sheet that says how much we're willing to pay for the house. And the owner looks over the offer sheet. They never meet us directly. They meet only through the realtor. The realtors talk to each other. The buyer and the seller never actually talk to each other directly. And in this case, the house is going to have multiple offers. Many people will want this house.
Okay.
So they're not going to look at the offers until next week. And say 5 or 10 people bid on it, they're probably going to take the person who offers the most money for it.
Ooh.
So it's competitive.
That is a tough situation.